Welcome to episode 5 of Griz Nation. I'm your host, Grant. Today's episode, we sit down with the NCHS Baseball and Softball Player of the Week, as well as Roll Call, all coming up on Griz Nation. Grant Keiper, Brody Miles. We are now joined by the NCHS Baseball Player of the Week, Braden Brown. Braden, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So, Braden, you guys have had 3 games this week. You started your season away at Liberty and then came home to play East and Midland Trail. Just kind of walk us through those 3 games so far this season.
First on Liberty, we ended up losing, like you said, and probably should have won that game. They were, out of the 3, I'd say they were the second worst. East was definitely the best.
Yeah.
We played our best game against them, but pitching-wise, we were just trying to save pitchers, I believe, and just, didn't hit the ball that great that game. East, we hit the ball way better, and then Trail, we just, same thing, it's East.
So, Greenbrier East, you guys got down 5-0 pretty early in that game, but you guys came back to win 10-6. So just kind of walk us through that comeback.
Yeah, our first inning, they had a couple base hits and a couple, not necessarily errors, but like just where people wasn't making the plays and stuff. But after that, we started hitting better, and I think we had like 6 in the second inning or something like that. And after that, it just kind of kept going from there. They didn't score very much more after that, I don't believe.
So let's talk about your pitching. I was watching last night when you were right before the game, and then I saw your pitching skills, and I thought it was pretty good. What would you say about your pitching skills then?
I feel like throw more curveballs and that kind of stuff than I do fastballs. So that's definitely the best part of my pitching, off-speed type stuff.
So, Brody mentioned your pitching. Obviously, you finished the game last night, but as well, you've had a batting average of .714 this week. That's really, really good. So, just kind of walk us through what your mindset is coming up to the plate.
Yeah, I just try to make sure I'm not nervous before every at bat, and just get my mind right before every at bat, and try to hit the ball.
Well, what's something that gets in your head before batting? I mean, we probably shouldn't say this on the air, but like,
just really nothing. Just the fact that I, am doing it for my team. Just trying to do it for them. But
so you guys have also had 16 straight error-free innings, starting at the bottom of the 6th against Liberty. Just kind of walk us through that. When in baseball, when your field's able to be so good, that can really make a game changer. So just kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, after the Liberty game, our defense has been, like you said, really good, and we just that first inning of the East game was the only one I can say that was like a little bit off, but still we didn't have any errors, like you said, and it was just ever since that we've just been winning from them.
Greenbrier East had a lot of errors. I saw them with their third baseman. Was that right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
They got subbed out. 3 times that in between?
Yeah, I believe so. Trails, their third baseman had a lot of errors too, and just them all around.
And obviously, you see too when your defense is able to not have those errors, it can lead to comebacks like you guys did against East, right? And that's probably, like Brody mentioned, East had some errors in the field. That's probably what led you guys to be able to come back and win that game.
Yes.
So about the errors, if Greenbrier East didn't have errors, you think you could come back?
I believe so. We were still hitting, like shots in the gaps and stuff, making, plays that they really can't get to sometimes.
Yeah.
But
And speaking of you guys' batting, your team has scored 23 runs in the last 2 games. That's Greenbrier East and Midland Trail. So when you guys are able to hit the ball that much and be able to put 23 runs up in the last 2 games, that's really impressive.
yeah, it definitely helps. That's you got to score to win.
Back to the East game. Were you nervous when it was like the last inning and you were the one pitching?
No, not really. Pitching don't really make me nervous. I don't know why, but I get more nervous batting than I do pitching. I don't know.
So at time of recording, it's a Friday. You guys have Pikeview tonight, so just kind of walk us through that. Obviously people will be seeing this after that game, but just kind of walk us through what your mindset is going into the game today at Pikeview.
Yeah, as long as we get a play, and it's supposed to rain, but as long as we get a play and just try not to be nervous, like I said, and just hopefully win the game.
Is Pikeview tough down there?
Yeah, away is always a harder game than home. I mean, that's how it is for everybody, but Pikeview especially. I think we've lost last 2 years at least away, and then we beat them home, I believe.
Do they have some special players?
Yeah, I know they have a good pitcher. I don't think he's pitching today, but he's a pretty solid pitcher, and I think he'll probably play shortstop, I think, today, and then they got some transfer. I know that he's supposed to be pitching today, but I don't know nothing about him.
So then also, you got Braxton, Capital, Oak Hill, and Liberty all coming up this week as well. So just kind of walk us through how you're going to prepare for those games, because obviously what other positions do you play out there?
Yeah, mainly right field. I mean, sometimes we'll move you in the outfield, and I know last year I played infield a little bit, but not very much, and then I pitch like we talked about earlier, but that's about it.
What's your favorite?
I don't know, probably right field's probably my favorite just because I played there the longest. But
Well, Braden, thanks for stopping by.
thanks for having me.
Grant Keiper, Gavin Smith with you. We are now joined by the NCHS Softball Player of the Week, Brylee Scott. Brylee, you guys have had a tough first week. You went away to Pikeview, away to Buffalo, away to Hoover, and then had your first home game last night against Midland Trail. Just kind of tell us how those past 4 games have been.
Well, they've been tough, but I think that we pulled through, and we've just been really just trying to figure out where everybody's going to go.
Do you play any of those teams later in the season too?
I think that we play all of them later, especially the home one. We play them later at their place, and all the way once we play them home.
Will you be preparing to
We will.
come back for them? Okay.
So, Brylee, you guys started against Pikeview. You fell just short there, losing 4-5. Just kind of tell us what you guys kind of think you can do to improve on when you see Pikeview later on in the season.
Well, that was just a really, really tough game, but we came out of it and we went hard in. So basically, our idea on it is just to get our batting up. That's the main struggle that we are having. But we're also trying to feel where everybody's supposed to go because, we were rebuilding this team where we lost 9 seniors last year.
And you got just an under 500 batting average. And is there any pointers to get that good of a batting average?
And just go in, stop thinking, just play the game.
Then you also have the highest on-base percentage on the team. Just kind of tell us what you feel like you do best at getting on base, or walk us through how you're trying to get on base.
I just see ball, hit ball, and all I'm thinking is get on base, get on base, get on base, and you just gotta play ball.
Yeah. So you're a sophomore this year. How do you think about your freshmen this year?
Our freshmen are really, really good, but they're all still learning.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously a little pointers that we can always critique, but they are really good this year.
Yeah, that's good.
You guys lost to Buffalo and Hoover, but those are 2 outstanding softball programs in the state of West Virginia. Just kind of tell us how you think going against their teams are going to prepare you to where when it comes regional time, you guys will be ready to go.
I feel that hitting them early on was actually great to do so that we can prepare for them later, as well as regional time.
Yeah. You guys also got Ripley coming up today, which it got actually canceled due to the weather. So you guys' next game will be Oak Hill on Monday. Just kind of tell us how you guys are going to try to prepare for Oak Hill.
We are just gonna keep hitting and keep fielding.
What all positions do you play, Brylee?
I play short, second, and outfield.
So how do you manage playing all those different spots on the field?
I just go in and I guess play my hardest and just put me wherever they need to go.
Besides the 4 teams you've already played, do you have any other tough headers going on?
Oh, playing Herbert Hoover again is going to be tough, but I feel that once we already hit them first, we can rebuild from that.
Hoover, they're probably going to be one of the top leading softball teams in the region. So, like you said, to be able to play them early and then to be able to play them again, I feel like by the time it comes regional time, you guys will be ready to go.
And that's all you need is just once you get them, like a scrimmage, basically, you'll be ready for the next time.
So we kind of already mentioned how you guys are going to go play Oak Hill, but then you also got Greenbrier West home and Greenbrier East away. That's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday game. So you got 3 games in a row there. Just kind of tell us how you manage those back-to-back-to-back games.
It's just going to be stacked. I guess you just get out of the games, go home, take a nap, into it again. There's nothing really that we can do about it other than just be prepared.
And then also, like today you guys are supposed to go to Ripley once again, we're filming this on a Friday. That game's gotten canceled. So, just kind of tell us how you prepare for it, because obviously, games get canceled. It's West Virginia. It rains a lot. So just kind of tell us how do you manage being in that mindset of, we're going to play today, and then no, it gets canceled. Just kind of tell us how you try to get locked in for that game coming up.
Well, we just practice like we're playing. So basically, when we're going to practice, we just act like we're playing. So whether we have game or practice, we're always ready.
Yeah, and how do your coaches keep you motivated after each and every single game?
They just tell us see ball, hit ball, and we
That's
usually
all it takes.
pull it out there.
Yeah.
You guys, would you guys say you're relatively young this year, or do you think you guys are you only been losing 2 seniors, right? So you're relatively young. So how do you think this season here can maybe help prepare you guys for next season as well?
I feel like this season was really big on preparing us, and it was a big rebuilding season. We lost 9 seniors last year, which was a crazy amount.
Yeah.
So basically, our whole infield and outfield are all freshmen. But I feel that next year, where we're already building them young, we're gonna be good.
So as said, you got a good batting average. How is your teammates batting?
I feel like our batting is good. Obviously, we can always work on stuff.
Yeah.
But overall, pretty good.
That's good.
And then too, like you said, some of them are freshmen and stuff. So you think, the more, like you say, see ball, hit ball, the more they see the ball, especially at this speed up here at the high school level, I'm sure they'll get more and more used to it.
Yeah, I feel like the freshmen are going to see the ball early on in state, and next year we'll be stacked.
Well, Brylee, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to Roll Call with Grant, Brody, and Gavin. Guys, the baseball and softball seasons are in full swing, and something we want to do every single week is highlight their games. Gavin, how about we start with softball? They had their season opener away at Pikeview, where they just fell just short, losing 4-5, and then they went away to Buffalo and Hoover, falling short in both of those games. But those 2 teams are extremely well. And then you got home against Midland Trail, where they fell just short there. Gavin, we talked to Brylee earlier in the day, and she talked about how you got Buffalo and Hoover right there, 2 phenomenal teams in the state.
Yeah, and these 4 teams, they're really good teams, and playing them this early in the season is just great for them. It's a great experience. It's almost like a scrimmage or a practice. Next time you play them, you know what to do. And then with those freshmen, Brylee also talked about those freshmen, how good they are and how they need this experience. And I think this experience will set them up for success in the future, especially their senior year. Starting on varsity is pretty important for freshmen, and then once you're seniors, I feel like you'd be great ball players. Yeah, and a great role model for those younger players. For sure.
And and this is a relatively young softball team, as you're only going to lose. You only have 2 seniors, so the majority of this team is definitely juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. So like we talked about, for the freshmen, the sophomores to get this experience so young, like you said, by the time they get to their senior and junior years, they'll be pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good role models.
And then, also, too, Gavin, you got Buffalo and Hoover. We talked about with Brylee as well, as about how those 2 teams are probably one of the 2 best teams in the state. So to get those teams so early as well, definitely really good to be able to come back when you play them later in the season, to have that in your back pocket.
Yeah. Back to that Pikeview game, they just came short 4-5, and I feel like if they just put their heads together, put the bat on the ball, they'll just be set for the rest of the season.
Yeah, too. That was their opening game, right? So I'm sure nerves were there. Like we talked about with the freshmen, it's probably their first high school game. They're probably nervous. And obviously it was a close game there, so I'm sure when they come back to Pikeview, they'll be able to get
They'll
them.
be ready. And it might seem tough this season for them freshmen, but it'll just truly just set them up for success. Not even this season. I mean, this season could be bad for those freshmen, but by their sophomore, junior, and senior years, I think they'll be some great ball players.
For sure. And then, upcoming games for softball, and of course we're filming this on Friday the 27th of March, so the weather could change this, or depending on when you're seeing this. But they go Monday away to Oak Hill. That game starts at 5:30. Then they stay here at home to play Greenbrier West. That game starts at 5:30 on Tuesday. And then they go away to Greenbrier East. That game starts at 5:30 on Wednesday. Guys, how about we move to baseball now? We talked with Braden Brown earlier in the day, and he kind of walked us through their first 3 games of the season. Of course, they had that season opener away at Liberty, where they fell just short, losing 2-3. And then they had a game home against Greenbrier East, winning 10-6 with a great comeback in the bottom of the second, as well as winning against Midland Trail home 13-7.
Yeah. Braden also talked about how against Liberty, they also saved pitchers.
Yes.
So I think that also played a big role. If they saved their good pitchers, then that scored nothing.
Well, and that's true. I'm glad you mentioned that, because they were supposed to play Liberty and then Shady and East back to back obviously, a Shady game got canceled, therefore them not being able to use the pitchers maybe the way they wanted to. But that's a great point. They're trying to save pitchers, definitely not using their best pitchers when they're going against Liberty. And like you said, that score definitely doesn't tell the full story.
No.
Yeah, same with softball. This baseball team just has really good rookies, really good freshmen, and they got pretty good freshman pitchers and fielders, just all around good freshmen.
Those seniors, they have some good freshmen too. You know, we talked about Braden with pitching, and he pitched against Greenbrier East like the last inning.
Yeah.
And I don't think, did he pitch at all in the very beginning?
I don't think so. I think he finished the game on the mound.
He closed the game.
Which is crazy to me how good that pitcher is, Braden Brown.
Yeah. And, you know, too, baseball's such a mental game. And, you know, this baseball team, we saw the stats. They went 16 straight innings and counting, 16 straight innings of not making an error. You know, so when your defense is able to be that good and then your batting's that good, you know, you put 10 runs up against East and 13 runs up against Stroll. When you're able to score and your defense is that well, you're going to be dangerous.
With this East game, they were down late in the game and they put Braden in there. The mentality they had was just outstanding to me. I mean, they came back from being under to the top and they just rose up to the top.
You know, and then also, we talk about this, but baseball, softball, you play so many games a week, and of course,
It's
this is
got to
like,
be exhausting.
oh yeah, and it's all going to be weather depending as well. But you go away to Braxton, that game starts at 5 on Monday, and then home versus Capital, that game starts at 7 on Tuesday. That's also a regional game. Then you got away at Oak Hill, that game starts at 5:30 on Thursday, and then home versus Liberty, so you get another shot at Liberty. That game starts at 5:30 on Friday, and of course, these games are all weather depending. Brody, who are we giving the shout out to this week?
Well, our youth pastor, Caleb Villers, he asked me, and he also wanted to say something like a logo, but we're not that good for logos.
Thanks for watching Griz Nation. We'll see you next time. Start it.
This is Brody, and this is Bentlee. For something we did not expect to happen. Pitch me that ball, Bentlee. Boom! That's out of here.
It's 450. It's going, and it's gone. Home run by Brody Miles with the game-winning walk-off home run.